Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The NFL has always been a league built on stories. Stories of redemption, rivalries, underdogs, and the rare, almost mythical occurrences that make fans stop, rewind, and say, "Wait, did that really just happen?" Well, this week's 7 matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns is one of those moments. Sure, on paper it looks like a clash between two struggling teams sitting at 1-5, each trying to claw their way out of early season disappointment. But beneath the surface, history is quietly brewing. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, the NFL will see two left-handed quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa of the Dolphins and Dillon Gabriel of the Browns, facing off in the same game. It's the first lefty versus lefty quarterback duel in 19 years, and it's shaping up to be one of those quirky, nostalgic, and yet meaningful moments that football fans love to talk about. Think about that for a second. The NFL has seen hundreds upon hundreds of quarterback matchups since 2006. We've watched the rise and fall of dynasties, the emergence of generational talents, and the evolution of offenses into high-powered spectacles. And yet, not once in all that time have two left-handed signal callers stood across from one another on an NFL field. The last time it happened, Michael Vick was electrifying the Georgia Dome in a Falcons uniform, and Chris Sims was trying to hold his own with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That game, on September 17, 2006, ended in a 14-3 Falcons win, and it was the final time the NFL world got to witness a Southpaw showdown. Nearly 20 years later, it's happening again, and it feels like a tiny slice of football nostalgia brought to life. For fans who have followed Tua Tagovailoa's journey, this moment carries a special kind of symbolism. Tua has always been something of a football anomaly, a lefty in a righty's league, a precision passer with an almost poetic rhythm to his throws. His release is quick, almost balletic, and his accuracy on short and intermediate routes has long been one of his defining traits. But this season has been rough for Miami. The Dolphins' offense, once a dazzling showcase of speed and motion, has stumbled out of the gate. Injuries, inconsistent play, and a defense that can't seem to find its footing have dragged the team down to a 1-5 record. Still, there's an unshakable belief in South Florida that if anyone can spark a turnaround, it's Tua. Across the field, Dillon Gabriel is stepping into his own kind of spotlight. A rookie quarterback for the Browns, Gabriel has been thrust into a role that few expected him to take on so early. He's been scrappy, determined, and unafraid to take chances, even as Cleveland's offense continues to search for its identity. What makes his story so compelling isn't just that he's a lefty. It's that he embodies a sort of fresh hope for a franchise that has spent decades yearning for stability under center. The Browns have cycled through quarterbacks like an old radio station flipping through static, and while no one expects Gabriel to be the instant savior, this game represents a chance for him to make his mark, to show that his southpaw style can stand toe-to-toe with one of the league's most recognized left-handed throwers. There's something poetic about this matchup happening between two teams desperate for a spark. Both the Dolphins and the Browns have seen seasons unravel too early. Both have been haunted by what-ifs, and both have fan bases that cling to hope like a badge of honor. The stakes might not involve playoff implications yet, but emotionally, this is the kind of game that can shift momentum. It's not just about breaking a 19-year drought of lefty duels. It's about pride, perseverance, and proving that even amid a disappointing start, there's still history to be made. And then, of course, there's the rarity factor. Left-handed quarterbacks are practically an endangered species in today's NFL. Out of the 32 teams, only 3 currently have left-handed throwers on their rosters: Tua Tagovailoa, Dillon Gabriel, and Atlanta's Michael Penix Jr. That's it. Once upon a time, lefties had their moment in the spotlight. Steve Young, Boomer Esiason, Ken Stabler, and of course, Michael Vick, whose combination of speed and arm strength redefined what a dual-threat quarterback could be. But as the years passed, the southpaws disappeared, giving way to the dominance of right-handed throwers. It's not that left-handed players vanished from football altogether, but teams simply stopped developing them at the same rate. So when two of them happen to start against each other, it's not just unusual, it's downright historic. You can almost feel the nostalgia in the air. Fans who grew up watching Michael Vick torch defenses with his left arm and his legs are suddenly reminded of how rare that sight became. Analysts will dissect the angles, commentators will marvel at the mirror image footwork, and somewhere out there, a new generation of young left-handed kids will see that it's still possible to make it to the NFL throwing from the other side. That's the beauty of sports, how one seemingly small event can ripple outward and inspire countless others. And what makes it even more fascinating is that this lefty duel in Week 7 isn't a one-off. Just a week later, Tua will find himself facing yet another left-handed quarterback when the Dolphins travel to Atlanta to take on Michael Penix Jr. The NFL hasn't had one lefty versus lefty matchup in nearly 20 years, and now it's about to have two in back-to-back weeks. You couldn't script that better if you tried. After Week 8, the Dolphins, Browns, and Falcons won't meet again this season, meaning that once these two games are in the books, it might be years, maybe even decades, before we see another Southpaw showdown. So as Week 7 approaches, the stakes feel a little bigger than usual. Not because either team is fighting for playoff positioning, but because there's a sense that something unique is happening. Fans tuning in will be watching history, a rare, fleeting moment when the sport tips its hat to the past. The way Tua rolls left, the way Gabriel releases the ball with that mirrored motion. It's like watching two reflections of an older football era come alive again. And for the players themselves, there's no doubt they understand the significance. They might not say it outright, but you can bet both quarterbacks are aware they're stepping into a moment that will be remembered. For Tua, it's a chance to remind everyone why he was once seen as the next big thing, a generational left-handed passer with pinpoint accuracy and calm under pressure. For Gabriel, it's a proving ground, a stage where he can announce himself to the league and show that he belongs, that his unconventional style isn't a disadvantage but a weapon. Both men have something to prove, and both are doing it in a way that connects them to a small, proud fraternity of left-handed quarterbacks who came before them. Imagine the atmosphere on game day. The cameras zoom in on Tua's warm-up throws, the ball spinning counterclockwise through the crisp autumn air. Across the field, Gabriel mirrors the motion, his release a little different, but equally fluid. Coaches, fans, and commentators all sense that this isn't just another Sunday. It's a game that bridges generations, that honors a unique football lineage, that reminds everyone how diverse and unpredictable the sport can be. And when the opening whistle blows, it won't matter that both teams are 1-5. For a few hours, records will fade into the background, and what will stand out is the symmetry. Two left-handed quarterbacks, both fighting for their teams, both carving their names into a tiny but unforgettable corner of NFL history. And when the final whistle sounds, no matter which team walks away with the win, the story won't just be about the scoreboard. It'll be about how two lefties turned an otherwise forgettable mid-season matchup into something special. It'll be about how football, even in its most routine weeks, finds ways to surprise us. And it'll be about the legacy, how a game in Week 7 of 2025 became a milestone in the ongoing, winding, unpredictable story of the NFL. So, yes, the Dolphins and Browns might not be playoff contenders right now. They might be struggling to find their rhythm. But this weekend, under the lights and the roar of the crowd, they'll be part of something bigger. Tua Tagovailoa and Dylan Gabriel, two quarterbacks, two left hands, and one historic showdown. We'll take the field and remind everyone why we love this game. Because football isn't just about who wins or loses. It's about the stories we get to tell afterward. And this one, this rare, once-in-a-generation lefty duel, is a story worth telling for years to come. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Man, things are getting heated behind the scenes in the Dolphins locker room. And it's not just your usual off-season whispers. Reports are swirling that Nick Chubb, yes, the powerhouse running back we all know for his punishing runs and unwavering focus, is absolutely furious with what he's perceiving as a lack of commitment from some of the team's star players. The tension, apparently, isn't subtle, it's palpable, and insiders suggest it's starting to affect not just practice dynamics, but team morale as a whole. Picture this. One of the league's most disciplined and reliable backs is staring down teammates, questioning their dedication, and letting it be known in no uncertain terms that half-hearted efforts aren't going to cut it. The buzz is that locker room meetings have become arenas for straight talk, with CHUBB reportedly calling out players by name during discussions about performance, accountability, and the kind of work ethic that separates contenders from pretenders. Sources hint that this isn't just a fleeting moment of frustration either. CHUBB, who has earned respect across the league not only for his on-field explosiveness but also for his professionalism, is supposedly fed up with repeated lapses in focus. The rumors suggest that during recent training sessions, he's been vocally demanding higher standards, especially from those expected to lead by example. The vibe insiders are describing? Electric, tense, like a storm quietly brewing before it breaks. And let's be real, when a player of CHUBB's stature is openly frustrated, it doesn't just stay in the locker room. Word is, coaching staff have had to step in to mediate, trying to prevent the fire from spreading beyond internal walls. But the chatter is that CHUBB's message is resonating. Whether teammates love it or hate it, it's getting their attention. The speculation doesn't stop there. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing about how this could affect team chemistry moving into the next season. Some are framing CHUBB's apparent ultimatum as a potential wake-up call, something that could galvanize the Dolphins and refocus stars who may have been coasting a little. Others, though, are worried that the tension might linger, creating rifts that could prove difficult to bridge. There are whispers that certain players feel targeted, that the way CHUBB has been holding teammates accountable feels intense, even personal. The locker room atmosphere, according to insiders, is oscillating between fiery motivation and uncomfortable defensiveness, with every practice becoming a high-stakes performance evaluation under CHUBB's watchful eye. What makes this all the more intriguing is the timing. The Dolphins are at a point where expectations are sky-high. Fans are dreaming of playoff pushes, commentators are hyping up potential deep runs, and everyone knows that every piece of the roster needs to click. Enter CHUBB, a player who has built his career on discipline and relentless effort, essentially saying, "If you're not in this 100%, you're dragging us down." The buzz is that some of the team's biggest names are now having to reckon with this public and pointed pressure. There's talk of heated one-on-one conversations in the weight room, in hallways, and even during film sessions. Sources close to the team claim that CHUBB's intensity is forcing reflection, and while some players are reportedly embracing it as motivation, others are allegedly bristling, feeling scrutinized in ways that challenge their pride. And then there's the narrative spreading through social media and fan circles. Clips of CHUBB dominating in past games, juxtaposed with stories of him now demanding higher standards off the field, are fueling speculation about just how far he'll push this. Will he be the catalyst that ignites the Dolphins into a new level of competitiveness, or will the tension simmer and eventually boil over? Rumors are flying that the coaching staff is walking a fine line between supporting CHUBB's drive and preventing it from fracturing locker room unity. There's even talk that some players have quietly reached out to each other, forming informal discussions about how to handle the pressure while still maintaining team harmony, which just adds another layer to the intrigue. Some insiders are hinting at a divide forming. Subtle, yes, but visible to those who know where to look. On one side, you've got players embracing CHUBB's no-nonsense approach, doubling down on training intensity, film review, and conditioning. On the other side, there are whispers of players quietly resenting the scrutiny, feeling that CHUBB is overstepping or turning teammates into public targets for accountability. The tension is reportedly most visible during practice scrimmages, where CHUBB's explosive energy clashes with moments of perceived lethargy from others. Coaches are allegedly trying to harness that energy without letting it spill into conflict, but rumor has it that even the veteran staff is finding it tricky to mediate. Every snap, every drill, seems to be a microcosm of this drama, with CHUBB's expectations hanging over the field like a storm cloud threatening to burst. And let's not ignore the human element here. People close to CHUBB reportedly describe him as frustrated not out of ego, but out of genuine concern for what the Dolphins could achieve. This isn't about him seeking headlines or stirring controversy. It's about a player who knows the ceiling of this team and refuses to watch it be wasted. Rumors suggest that he's been having candid conversations, imploring teammates to recognize that talent alone isn't enough. It's about preparation, consistency, and commitment. And apparently, that message isn't landing with everyone, which is fueling speculation about who might eventually step up and who could continue resisting the pressure. Fans are already dissecting every practice clip, every sideline expression, looking for signs of cracks or breakthroughs, and the chatter is only growing louder with each passing day. Even more interesting are the whispers about how this might influence future roster moves. Some speculate that management could view CHUBB's intensity as a mirror for the kind of culture they want to enforce, potentially shaping trades, contracts, or starting roles. There's talk that younger players are watching this unfold and taking notes, realizing that high performance now carries real accountability. The rumor mill is ablaze with theories about which stars are getting it, and which might be weighed down by ego or complacency. And the speculation doesn't stop at internal dynamics. There's already chatter in sports media circles suggesting that this tension could ripple into the public narrative, affecting not just locker room gossip, but fan expectations and even betting lines. Everyone is asking, will CHUBB's fury be the spark that propels the Dolphins into a dominant stretch, or will it create fractures that even his leadership can't mend? Ultimately, what's clear from the inside scoops is that Nick Chubb isn't mincing words. He's demanding excellence, holding teammates accountable, and in the process, creating a locker room atmosphere that is simultaneously electric and tense. The rumors indicate that this saga is far from over, and every day that passes seems to ratchet up the stakes. Teammates are being forced to examine their effort, coaches are juggling personalities, and fans are left on the edge of their seats, waiting to see whether this storm will forge a stronger team or unravel the fragile fabric of camaraderie. One thing is for certain, the Dolphins' locker room is not a quiet place right now, and Nick Chubb is at the eye of the storm, a force of nature demanding that everyone either step up or step aside. And honestly, in the world of professional sports, stories like this, where a single player's intensity shakes the status quo, are exactly the kind of drama that keeps everyone talking long after the final whistle. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.